You're listening to Goof On Radio with Rich Giordano.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
There has been and is an existing presence, an ET presence. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change reality.
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight, that when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
Goof On Radio.
You were either in or you were either out, brother.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Goof On Radio with Rich Giordano.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Goof On Radio.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
You're listening to Goof On Radio with Rich Giordano.
All right. I had to play the long intro because things weren't working so well. And I got a red itchy eye because there was some weed that got in my eye. I'm allergic to weed if it touches my hand, if it touches my eye. No, all right. How you guys doing? It is Thursday. That's right. It is football and baseball. Playoffs for baseball. So we're going to watch the Yankees after this show. But we got a goodie. Now, you know, a lot of times there's only so much you could talk about in this topic because there really isn't that much going on. Even though there's some, stuff going on, there's nothing really newsworthy that, I could say, hey, 3-Eye Atlas is on the way. It's going to be here tomorrow. Nothing like that. No major discoveries, no new moomy doomies, no new drones, but we will be focusing on drones a little bit tonight because that's where everybody seems to be keeping their focus. And they haven't gone away 100%. They're still in Jersey. They're now in the Denmark. They're all over the United States on the coastline areas. California, Oregon, not so much. But, the power cities are the ones that are getting the drone incursions here in the U.S. But Denmark? I don't understand why we're doing Denmark, of all places. That's like going to Delaware for a vacation. Delaware. Let's go to Delaware. What's there to do? Delaware. Well, yeah. It's what? Delaware. who? Delaware. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, you got it. That's right. Huh? That's David Grush country. Delaware. Yeah, that's not nice. God forgive him. Me. This guy, Dylan Borland. You know the one. He's the whistleblower that was gave a good story at the hearings. Remember that guy? We're going to focus a little bit on him tonight. He was just on an episode of Weaponized. Is that what it is? Yeah, Weaponized. Jeremy Corbell. The truth about legacy UFO programs. This is part 2. You don't need to see part 1. Let me tell you why, because it's just as boring as part 2. Now, I'm going to talk about this guy, Dylan Boring, because it's exciting. And you guys, you know, as much shit as I like to give Corbell and Knapp, that show is really good. I like Weaponized. I know some of you tell me you don't like it, can't stand them. Yeah, I don't know how I did it, but I got over it. I watch for the information, and you know, I know Jeremy Corbell's Jeremy Corbell. You just get, you know, just like if they have to look at me, they're like, "Oh, that's goof on being goof on." You know, so it is what it is. And we're going to talk about that. No, we're not. Who's here tonight well, this is Goof on Thursday night. Brian Yates, how you doing? Good to see you. Blackfish. Good to see you. Hi, Tacey. Tacey Hale, everybody. Tacey Hale. David Wilcox. Not Wilcox. How you doing, Chief? It's after 7 o'clock. Paul Callahan. Fowler! What do you say there, Chief? Brooke is. Huh? How you doing, Brian Yates? Christopher V. Glenn Collins. How is everybody? Good to see you guys. Slim Shady. Nothing going on here. Maybe a day. What's up, Bernie? How you doing, Slim Shady? Stephen A. How you doing? Yeah, guys, don't forget. There he is. Chicken Coop Confidential. What's up, Triple C? The Infinity I got it wrong. Oh, Infinity ET. Infinity Eternity. See it? You don't see what I see. It cuts you off at the ET. It says Infinity ET on my end. And then I have to go look on the screen and go, how you doing? All right. If I didn't say your name, it doesn't mean I don't love you. It means we have a lot of show to do. We do, and here we do. So, without further ado, I'm not going to play the whole thing. Trust me. Hey, look, you know, usually the weaponized videos, their episodes are pretty good. I have to admit, I usually watch it all. I couldn't watch it all. He kept repeating himself, Borland did, after an hour. It was like they should have just ended it at 56 minutes. They went an hour and a half, and there was no reason for it. Just a brief overview of what he was talking about. Basically, he's talking about how he did everything asked, did everything requested, did everything required, and he did everything the government asked him to do by the book, and they still fudged him over. This guy says he has no credit, can't get a job. He's basically homeless. After he busted his ass, did everything by the book for the government in the name of the United States, and he decided to whistleblow and they ruined his life. And I'm not sure, but I think they tried to take him out. Was that they cut his power lines, I think? I don't know. Can't all the stories go together. Well, I am going to play a little bit of it. I think it's important that we focus on the whistleblowing context that has been brought into the narrative, because without the whistleblowers, what changes? Nothing. I have nothing for that comment. Without whistleblowers, ufology what? Continues on like it always has. Without whistleblowers, ufology what? Ufology continues on like nothing ever happened. It doesn't matter. Whistleblowers aren't giving us any evidence or anything for them to worry about losing their lives over. This is what I don't understand. They keep telling us, oh, my life was threatened. Oh, this happened. Oh, I was followed. Where's the evidence of that? I've got evidence of being followed. I've got evidence of being watched. Why don't you guys? These are the people work in the government and they can't figure it out. Oh, get a camera and record them watching me. Nobody does that. Am I the only smart person on the planet who's done that? All these people make claims. They have zero evidence. Zero. And they wonder why they're in the situation they're in. You whistleblew and you got screwed over anyway. Hey, don't commit treason. How's that? You get what you got. Don't whistleblow. I've been saying it since day one. Do not become a UFO whistleblower. It will get you nowhere. Actually, you know, most of these people are looking for jobs. So they come out with this beautiful, I've been want to be a whistleblower in UFOs. And then they get this talking, they go around the world talking for thousands of dollars. You want to talk in East India about what you saw? Yeah. Oh, it's 10 grand. Let's do it. You know, ugh. So these guys who commit treason, in my opinion, now I know some people are going to get mad at that. They didn't commit treason. They made a deal with the government, right? What do? They go to not a skiff, but I can't remember what it is when they get approval. Is it Dopser? Well, they get approval to talk about these things just like he did, and yet they still screwed him over. Did he get it in writing? See, I don't see anything proving what he's telling us is true. This is what bothers me about all of these whistleblowers. I love the fact that they come out because it gives us, you know, and the narrative something exciting to talk about. But, you know, at this point, without evidence, you're ruining your life for no reason. And I don't know what kind of bull crap, what smoke Jeremy Corbell or George Knapp are blowing up these whistleblowers' asses that don't worry about it. We'll protect you. Can't protect anybody. There ain't nobody you could protect. Who are you kidding? Let me fast forward this a few minutes here. Get to the juice. The first 20 minutes is good. We'll focus on that. So it's interesting, the first minute and a half, what he says. So I'm going to start right here. All right, take a listen. This is from Weaponized, Corbell and Knapp.
Us certain aspects of his professional experience. What is it that you saw and found out and can tell us about?
Well, we can go into it. I don't know how much is going to come out.
Okay.
Let's hear it, and then we'll figure it out later.
That's what I said. We'll get into it. I don't know how much is going to come out. Gosh, all over myself. All right.
So basically, hypothetically speaking, let's say that I claim I saw Bigfoot running around Nevada test range, and I saw Bigfoot outside the Starbucks, and Bigfoot was wearing a U.S. Air Force uniform. If I said that to Arrow or to the IG, but mainly Arrow, and Arrow comes back and says, and I draw a nice picture of Bigfoot in a pretty Air Force uniform. Let's say Arrow comes back and says, hey, Dylan, you talking about Starbucks is unclassified. You talking about Bigfoot in that military uniform? That's TS, no foreign. You are never to say another word about that. That's what Arrow did to me, and they classified everything I brought forward.
So you're working for BAE and for somebody else.
Yep.
For somebody else in the structure of
multi-agency special access program. Yes, sir.
And it's under the umbrella of a private company.
The private company is how they are getting us to work there. But it is all under the umbrella of that agency.
The information you had about these flying Tic Tacs that people are taking down, do you get that information through your work at BAE and that agency?
There were people who ended up working there with me who were brought into the legacy program whose lives were also destroyed, and they believe, based off of what I was saying about what I experienced in my life, the triangle, what I knew that to be true at that point, they believe I was read into the program, and they believe that because I was having the clearance issues and the VA issues and everything else, the financial, what they did to me, they were experiencing it too. And there were multiple people who I was working with that were a part of what is conveyed as the legacy program.
So you're working at BAE for an agency, and on a coffee break or a smoke break, you confer with your coworkers and you tell them about something you've seen, and they start sharing information with you.
Yes, but not even all that openly, because people were still so freaked out about it. And this gets into something else, which is when I was there, and this is why, we talked to Dave, and I explained this to Dave.
Correct.
Yep. One of the things that was very odd was, you're working 12 hours and it's middle of the night, 3 a.m. after working a 12-hour shift, 4th day in a row. You're just doing anything to stay awake. I remember you were talking about UFOs, and you talk about everything from football to baseball to movies to music. It's just, you're trying to stay awake. You're trying to get through the night or the day. And we were talking about UFOs, and Bob Lazar had come up, and you're just talking normal talk.
Yeah.
And I remember I had talked about what I knew to be true, and I had gotten a pop-up message on my computer. It said, you're not supposed to be talking about this. To this day, aside from having gone to the IG and what was conveyed to me by my attorney, to this day, technically, I have never gone an official, Dylan, here's what's happening, do not do this, here's why. It has been these subliminal pot shots, but there were multiple people that I was working with that were well aware of the reality of this subject, and considering where I worked, the finances that went into there and how much money funneled through there and how many programs we touched, that there were a number of people that were well aware of the reality of this situation. The UFO subject had been a part of quote unquote legacy programs, had gone to TDYs, had done it. But most of the people that were aware most of them were younger. Most of them had had their careers destroyed, their lives destroyed. Most of them believed that me talking about what I was dealing with my clearance and all the problems I was dealing with the company and the agencies, they thought it was safe to talk to me about their own experiences in the legacy program.
They assumed you knew more than you were saying.
100%.
So it's almost like, it sounds like they put all the bad eggs in one basket. It's like, all these guys knew too much and they're blabbing. We'll put them all over here with you.
Pretty much.
And was there surveillance of the employees? How did the information go to a higher up that would send you a message that says, shut the hell up?
I mean, you're on an ops floor and, you have people from every agency you can think of in there, and you're on computer systems that are closed access, and there's government employees and contract employees.
So what happens, he's in there, they're shooting the breeze, killing time, it's boring. His 4th day working a 12-hour shift in a row, and they're talking about UFOs and aliens, and Bob Lazar came up, and then out of nowhere, he gets a message that pops up on his computer at work And it says, I wouldn't be talking about this stuff, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Which means one of two things. Somebody in that circle of people they were working together, all of them together talking about this. One of them surreptitiously got on their computer and said, they're in the same office. This guy just went over and emailed and said, hey, don't talk about this in the office, or don't talk about this anymore up here. Or the second option is they're listening. The government's watching and listening to everything these guys say. Absolutely. Like, how do you not know who you are and who you work with and where you work that they wouldn't be listening in? However, you don't think you're going to get in trouble just for shooting a shit about UFOs and aliens. So they must have hit a nerve. See, this is what bothers me about that side of ufology. Everything you say, they take it like it's an actual bullet going into their gut. Words are just words. Yeah, they can be powerful, but they can't hurt physically. And these people need to take their feelings. Like, why can't they talk about UFOs and Bob Lazar and shit? You know what I mean? It's like, who cares? So I find that story a little weird. Because why would anybody care that they're talking about Bob Lazar and supposed legend, what do they call legacy programs and all that shit? Big deal. God, I'm so glad that Trump is changing the military to be more professional instead of meeting race quotas and shit like that. Now you got to get into shape. You got to work out. Yeah, and no more fat generals. I love it. I love what's happening. You look at China. They don't have one fat soldier in the whole million. You know how many people they got in their army? As many people as we have in the United States. They've got over 300 million. Well, they're forced into it, but still. It's kind of like the Matrix. One of them for every one of us. And they're going to be in shape, and we're going to be fat roly-polies. We lose.
From multiple different contract companies. And knowing what I know now.
And no offense to people who are overweight. I'm talking about people who can control it when they're young and they just eat because they're gluttonous, spoiled little brats. Giddy up.
Now, in hindsight, knowing the way that these legacy programs work, if you're not embedded in the company, you're coming as a government representative, it's TDYs, and knowing the government has TDY requirements depending on what agency you work for. Some of these people probably found their way over to TDY, and they had heard me talking about things that they thought they were far more important than they really are, and thought that I shouldn't be talking about it.
That's
You're
right.
just bullshitting with coworkers.
Pretty much just talking.
And they are with you. Is there somebody in there that's counterintelligence that was sent in there to see who's blabbing?
I would, towards the later end, I would bet so. Towards the later end, I would bet so.
At that point, you're not filing reports or calling New York Times or raising hell.
No, to be honest with you, George, talking to the media was so ingrained into me and other people in the work we did that it was like persona non grata. Like, if you went and talked to anybody outside, like, you're a dead man.
You wouldn't have done it.
No. I mean, even whenever I felt that I had to, I was shaking. Even when I went to Senate, when I went to Congress, I was shaking.
Is this why your clearance was sort of put in limbo? It doesn't exist because you're saying things you shouldn't be talking about.
I think early on it was a mistake, and I talked with Dave Brush about this. I think early on it was a mistake. They were notified 6-7 months into it, and then from then on, they outright just did not care. They terrorized me. I mean, I would go into work. They were notified by multiple companies that they were not housing my clearance correctly. Multiple companies tried to pick me up. Multiple companies said they would give me a pay raise, a better job. I couldn't take any of it. They notified BAE. They filed
It's not like he was on the record talking about this. Jesus.
complaints, and I got the runaround
don't
between
get
the
it.
company, the two agencies that I work for. But long story short, it is my opinion in hindsight, and other people who are also whistleblowers and other people who have worked in these programs, that is a standard operating procedure by these people to keep this quiet.
Your career has been in classified programs.
Yeah.
Your training has been in classified programs. They now tell you you don't have a clearance. You can't go to work anywhere else. You are frozen here, whether you like it or not.
Yep, 16 hours a day, doing night shift, weekends, holidays for $62,000 a year. Yep.
Why would anybody become a whistleblower at this point? Don't do it. I promise you, please don't do it. If there's a whistleblower contemplating, there's no reason for you to contemplate. You're going to lose everything. Unless you have evidence. If you have an alien, if you have a piece of a spaceship, some technology, come over here. Let me see it. Let me put my life on the line for you. Let me bring it to the public. Let me do it. Just email me, goofonradio@gmail.com. I may get back to you.
But to be clear, you had a clearance. It's not like they said you don't have one, you lost it. They're keeping it in a purgatory, which is a technique we've heard over and over of how to keep people somewhere and almost like try to squeeze them out through pressure. So I just want to make that clear. It's not like he ever had anything, a mark on his record where they're like, you no longer have a clearance. He was in good standing. Right. It's a type of purgatory people create. So look, we're kind of glossing over this idea. We're here to talk about the UAP reality. Boom. You see something at Langley Air Force Base that you have testified to Aero, to Congress, to Senate Intelligence, to even people that we're not talking about. You've testified to a lot of people officially, ICIG. You wanted them to know that this craft you saw, which you're thinking, maybe it's something we reverse engineered. We now know through that it's likely not just our tech, that it might prove David Grush's ideas about reverse engineering that we've been told all the way back from Lazar. He saw an operational craft over a military installation that is far beyond, there's no fingerprint for. We don't have that technology to the best of my understanding at this time. So now whose was it? Was it a joint operation where the comms with whoever the pilots were? But it was a huge triangle that had this electrostatic charge. The other thing you told me that like I want to hear more about was the gold glow, because I've heard this over and over and over, like a lava lamp. It was a sort of undulating on the skin of this thing, right? Like a
basically, yeah. The best way I can describe it is overlay.
Oh, hold on. He's going to talk about what he saw on this UFO. Now, the Phoenix Lights, for those of you who are not familiar with what it looked like from underneath, people said when the triangle went over them, the lights looked like they were in kind of like like a ceiling light, like in a canister type of deal. It's kind of reset into the ceiling just a couple of inches. But it looked like there was swirling liquid smoke, they said. All directions. And it was smoky liquid. And it was orangey. Pretty cool. I wonder what that is. It's got to be, of course, what makes that thing move or give it the power to move. All right. Let's hear what he says. Now, that's what he's about to explain. Something just like what the Phoenix Lights were like.
If you're looking at a lava lamp and seeing that flow, place a yellow semi-transparent lava lamp flow on this craft, making 90-degree turns and all over the craft. Yes. And it's just this yellow, transparent, almost like smoke cloud pulsating all around the craft.
So clearly a technology like Matthew Brown has kind of thought that either it's non-human intelligence technology, or it's something that we've figured out how to operate, and it's like a breakaway civilization. It's so advanced that this is something that's not acknowledged, even to Congress, the people that should have oversight. So you've got that big one UFO experience, right? The UAP experience. Then you have this accidental exposure, but to such a high degree. I don't want to ask the question because I don't know if you can answer, but did you physically see photos? Did you physically see these documents?
No, but because of how much was given to me and relayed, that the individuals that had relayed it, they were doing so because they were genuinely concerned for their life, because their careers were taken, their houses were broken into. I mean, computers taken, mailboxes gone through that. And again, they knew what I was going through at this time.
Do you believe him? This guy is the most truthful sounding witness, whistleblower, whatever you want to call him, that I've ever heard. As far as, in recent times. Doesn't it? I mean, he's just talking like, he knows what he's talking about. He's not in the typical position like Eleganzo would have his hands together, and he would speak in circles. Like, you can tell the difference between how Lou Elizondo talks and how this guy talks, or how David Grush spoke and how other because David Grush did sound credible, even though he was saying some things that he thinks is true. And it may very well be. I don't know the truth. You don't know the truth about what's going on in the government, these legacy programs, things we have in possession. We don't know. We can only go by what we heard last. And I always say that, they believe the last person that they spoke to, because that's how this information gets passed around. So it's so compartmentalized that you don't get the information until the other person hears what other information has been put out there. Oh, they spoke about that? Oh, that's my cue to now talk about what I know. And that's what I think we're waiting for. Other pieces of this puzzle that's been compartmentalized for decades upon decades. But a lot of these people are passing away, getting too old to care, or don't, have the energy. Was that me? Hold on. I thought I heard wheezing. Like, no. Sounded like I was wheezing, right? Did you hear that? Every breath I took, I was hearing like a whistle. Anyway, it's the information. It obviously we get pieces of the puzzle every 6 months. We'll get a new whistleblower or blowers, or outside of the government giving us something. Then you got Greer, right? Greer will come up with something. Now my whistleblowers, and then he'll have to compete with these guys as whistleblowers. And then when those guys are calmed down and they're thinking of their next grift, you got Jaime Maussan. We've got new Moomy Doomies. We got lots of Moomy, like 30, 60, I don't know, 100. And Jaime's not doing that. We've got drones to talk about. Lots of drones to talk about. Now, this is interesting enough, but there really isn't much more that I'm going to play, because kind of you get it. You have to get it at this point, what's going on. So this guy got screwed. The government doesn't want him to talk. The threats seem real. And other people have been shooed away and scared away and threatened so much that it's going to be hard to get a good whistleblower. And it's going to be hard to get a good whistleblower with evidence. Where is that evidence? Maybe Greer's whistleblowers, because maybe Greer knows somebody who works at Lockheed Martin, and they could say, I worked on UFOs at Lockheed. I know the Tic Tac. Where's that guy? How come that guy hasn't come forward? Because the rumors about a month ago, Rose Cuckold came out, said, we know that, the Stupid Tic Tac is by. I know that's how he sounds to me now. Anyway, yeah, saying this and that, and how come we don't see that guy coming out? Maybe because Lockheed Martin didn't create the Tic Tac. You want to know? I think, you know what makes sense? You want to know what makes the most sense? I think you guys might buy into this. Would you agree you would need certain special technology to go from planet to planet in a lifetime? We would all agree you got to go. Speed of light is not fast enough. So we know that we're not traveling the stars with the technology we have. Let's go a little bit further and imagine that no one can crack that mystery and travel instantly or so fast across great distances that you could do it within a year, 6 months, maybe a couple of days. That technology doesn't exist. Let's just say it doesn't. So that can only mean one thing. Let's get back to Occam's razor. The most simplest answer is the answer. Is that how that one works? The most logical, simplest answer is most likely the answer to the question. Something like that. It's us from the past. Old technology, million years ago. Yeah. We've been lied to. What do you think? There's a missing link. They can't tell us humans have been around for 3 million years. And there's been extinction level events like, 5 times, 6 times, whatever it is. We keep blowing ourselves up. Maybe, just maybe, things we see on the moon and Mars, those structures, are from us. We had the ability to go to places on the other planets. Maybe we're from Mars. Maybe. These are things I think we know. These are the secrets I want to hear. I know. I want to know, did we find this stuff? Because I don't buy that there's been over 100 crashed UFOs discovered. 100? Stupid. I mean, you would have to be gullible to believe that. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. Rich, don't you get it? When the UFOs enter into the city, they hit the wires and it throws. Oh, shut off. It's not what happens. Well, we hit them with microwave. No. Maybe. No. Nope. Let's get rid of this. That's weaponized. I'll put the link to this in the show description. That guy goes through hell in a handbasket. I don't know what the hell that means. He goes through hell. It's sad. It's a good episode, but it's not as exciting as other ones, but it's interesting nonetheless. All right. I want to talk about these drones. Now, Rogue UAPTF says, I am so infuriated by the way Dylan Borland, the guy we just watched, has been treated, doing everything as a whistleblower by the book. Even now, there are active social media campaigns against him. And he's not alone, of course. The White House has the power to fix this mess and must urgently convene, really? At NSC meeting with POTUS, Tulsi Gabbard, Marco Rubio, David Grush, Dylan, and other 40 whistleblowers. Yeah, the 40 other whistleblowers with direct knowledge of these UFO programs. Excuse me. The crimes against our... My God, I'm going to puke up an alien. The crimes against our veterans and humanity need to stop. Catastrophic disclosure remains an option. Don't test patriots with nothing left to lose. Ooh. Stephen Greenstreet, oh my God, he read my mind. He says, so the whistleblower book says, go on Goober Jeremy Corbell's podcast. That's a good point. I was thinking that. Yeah, why would you go? That's not by the book, going on Jeremy Corbell's thing, telling everything. I don't know. That's funny to me. Oh, my God. It's amazing, right? Uh-oh. Hold on. Oh, no. All right. This. Whoa. Okay. Oh, okay. This just popped up. I don't know why it wasn't. God. Hold on a second. I don't know why this didn't pop up until now. That's so weird. Tom Thompson says, I've compiled 2 weeks of drone UFO reports straight out of South Jersey, where I live. Regular people are witnessing things that don't make sense, and yet we're still being fed lies about what's in our sky. There's one sky. Stop saying skies. In our skies. You know, people. All right, I want you to hear this. We're going to listen to Tom. Tommy makes some good points. It's nice to see what the other people are doing in the community. That's why I like to play these clips. You understand? These people need they need more eyeballs.
What's going on, everybody? I hope you're well and that your week has been both positive and meaningful thus far. I won't take up too much of your time here. I'm not going to be doing any real editing with this video. This is just going to be my notes, myself, and the camera. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been gathering accounts of unusual aerial activity reported across South Jersey, where I live. These reports span multiple towns, stretching from Trenton all the way to Brick Township. What makes these accounts significant is that they didn't come from official channels.
There's no, there it is.
Or public databases. They were shared directly with me by private citizens. Some reached out through email, while others spoke to me in person during the course of my daily work, which regularly takes me into a wide variety of neighborhoods and homes. I've taken the time to organize these accounts into chronological order for clarity and consistency. So let's move through them in order, beginning with the earliest and working toward the most recent. And for privacy, individual names have been withheld. Friday, September 19th, around dusk, a resident of Toms River reported seeing an unusual object in the sky described as almost polygonal evening. 2 brothers.
Okay, so there were reports. The reason I'm playing this, I want you to hear what these things sound like, what these things look like. That's why I'm playing this. That's right. Listen to how these objects look.
Transform into a single orange light, which descended out of sight. Notably, no FAA-mandated hazard lights were visible. Sunday, September 21st, in the evening, 2 brothers in Whiting observed 4 bluish-white, self-illuminated orbs rise above the tree line near their home. The objects came to a complete stop, hovered briefly, and then reversed course before disappearing from view. Tuesday, September 23rd, around 9:45 p.m. An elderly woman in Lakewood described seeing a triangular formation of orange lights moving steadily across the night sky. The formation eventually converged into a single light.
That's 2 times we've heard that. This is something that has been a regular report with these alleged drones. They converge on it, like 3 to 4 of them, and then they just become one. It's almost like they're locked in and magnetically sucked together. Right? It's very interesting. I don't know how they do it without breaking apart. So they're no blades spinning? Are people hearing anything from like a hum, a buzz, a ringing, music, something?
And descended below her line of sight, obscured by nearby buildings. Thursday, September 25th, around 1 a.m., an older gentleman in Manchester Township witnessed 2 strange drone-like objects resembling small aircraft fly directly over his home. The lights blinked intermittently, but he emphasized how unusual the objects appeared, flying very slowly, again at low altitude, and producing no sound until they eventually disappeared. Thursday, September 25th, around midnight.
No sound.
On the same night, a young woman traveling near Rancocas Creek observed another anomalous object smaller than a conventional aircraft. She reported that it transformed into a glowing orange sphere before fading from sight. She was adamant that the display was not the result of an optical illusion, such as misinterpreted landing lights, noting she was very familiar with those kinds of effects.
What's the one thing that's a commonality in all of these sightings, except for 1 or 2? The orange glow. Yellowish, orangish glow.
Sunday, September 29th.
If you guys would like to help support monetarily, goof on Truthology for ufology, by the way. All the links are in the show description. Super Chat, Super Sticker, PayPal, Cash App. Become a member. It's all up to you to help survive us. Survive us? What the frig?
Between 8 and 10 p.m. In Robbinsville, a husband and wife reported seeing multiple orb-like objects of varying colors drifting silently across the sky. The lights displayed no standard aviation markers, just isolated points of self-illumination that eventually faded off into the distance. Monday, September 30th, 7:40 p.m. A teenager in Brick Township described spotting what he called, quote, a weird airplane thing. It initially appeared as a bright white sphere and then shifted into a more complex form before reverting back again, all within a span of about a minute. The object moved slowly at low altitude yet again, and in a straight line without taking any turns. Suddenly, it accelerated and disappeared over the horizon. I've received more reports than the ones that I've spoken about here, but these were the ones that had the most detail and were the most interesting. I've gotten others that were more ambiguous with a lot less detail involved, but regardless, I've built a reputation.
So have I. Truthology for ufology. Thank you, Tom Thompson. Pretty interesting, right? Lots of different shapes, but one thing in common is there's that yellowish orangey glow. Ooh, I wonder why. It's got to be that specific color. It's an interesting color. Soothing. It's like the sun. Juicy fruit. Got a lot of more to talk about, so let's move along. Oh, check this out. They have now received digital imagery of 3-Eye Atlas. Atlas. All right. Digitally enhanced image of 3-Eye Atlas object that the YouTuber Dobsonian Power took with his telescope today. I'm gonna pull it up here in 5 or 4 or 3 or 2 or 1 or 0. Boop. Look at that, huh? Yep, that's it. Oh, wait, let's look at the other one. And boop. Captured by Dobsonian power while surveying 3I Atlas coordinates with a solar telescope, a dark silhouette object emerged during observation. This image has been enhanced for clarity and color contrast. So you can see it's got a line of poop coming out that, which way is it going? Right to left, left to right, up to down, down to up. It doesn't tell us. But nonetheless, weird, isn't it? Does that look normal to anybody? Is this why A.V. Loeb thinks this is a UFO? Is this why A.V. Loeb thinks this is a mothership? Look at it. You got this some sort of discharge coming out. I don't know if it's going this way or this way. Like I said, I don't know. I thought they usually show it going from right to left, but this looks like it's stuck. Anyway, there you go. That's the A.V. Loeb discovered 3I Atlas. Stupid. That is dumb. That shows us absolutely a lot. Actually, that was pretty wild. If that's the actual shape or close to it, that's pretty scary. And pretty big, considering, how far away it is. So, Eric Davis says this. They recovered UFOs. They recovered UFOs. We're left here to advance our technology. Are the gifts distributed equally? A legitimate declaration of a non-human hierarchy, and then some disclosure. That's an interesting thought. See, he is saying, did the aliens or whatever was here knew of our existence, left these gifts, UFOs, technology behind all over the planet? That's what Eric's thinking. And then he throws the question out there, well, hey, if they left these gifts behind, you know how the left thinks. Did everybody get one? Did everybody get a participation UFO just for being alive? Oh, God. France didn't get a UFO. Oh, those poor people. No wonder why they stinks. They got no soap. That's not why. Well, why didn't they get the technology? That's scary. Are you going to cry? Yes, it's not fair. Life's not fair. God dang you, it is fair. Everybody should get one. And this is why we have a problem in ufology. You can't share the shit with everybody. Stop trying to force your beliefs on this. Sorry. They, them energy. I can't. Oh my God. Alien energy. I just stop that. Stop. Hold on. Oh. I feel better. 11 ounces of liberal tears. I'm back. All right, let's get more work done. But Eric Davis was saying what I said. Oh my God, what if there was a previous civilization that was before, but it was us and they left these gifts behind? Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of things that the Smithsonian Institute has that has been hidden from the public. Yes. There's also the government itself hiding a lot of stuff, right? And then you have the Egyptians with the pyramids hiding a bunch of stuff. Do you see the pattern? There's so many things. In China, they've got this pyramid, right? It's a I guess a burial chamber for one of their I think maybe the first general ever of the Chinese 5,000 years ago. I don't know, but inside of this thing, they said it's a mercury. That it's like the whole inside of the burial chamber depicts the city, the streets, and everything. And then where there was water, they put mercury, and the mercury reflects off the ceiling, and it looks like there's stars, and I don't know, it's a whole beautiful scenario, but nobody can go in there. See, I don't like that. I think we should be able to see those things and admire them. Some things are meant to be left. No, that's not true. Some things are made, if somebody hid them, they hid them for us to find someday in the future when humanity is better than it was when they were alive. So if we found technology from, let's not go back that far, 5,000 years ago, right? We can go back that far, and there was flying Vermanas and flying carpets. I mean, there were so many sightings even back then of things like that. They saw flying carriages being pulled by unicorn. It's a sad, 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 sad world. All right, Bledsoe. I almost threw up in my mouth. So let me pull up one thing at a time here. Ryan Bledsoe, the son, posted this to Duncan Trussell, Joe Rogan's comedic friend. Duncan says, I would also love to personally fly you out to have a private sky watching experience. Everyone nowadays wants to talk about UFOs. As a student on the path, talking theory only takes us so far. To go further, we must walk in the realm of direct personal experience. No, I need to go. Do you know who Duncan Trussell is? If you don't know who Duncan Trussell is, this is a guy who's as gullible, smart, but very gullible and wants to believe. He is one of those people who believes the last person he spoke to. So he's going to go down to Ryan Bledsoe's area. They're going to skywatch. And what do you think is going to happen? The whole setup is going to happen. Ryan's got people up and down the street, wherever the wind isn't. I mean, come on. I hope Duncan goes there. Because another guy who was very gullible, and his name I can't remember, but he was in the Navy. His name will come to me. He was a bald guy. He was always on spaced out radio. He spent 5 days at Christopher Bledsoe's and said, I saw things I couldn't explain. These things, it's real. It's real. The evidence was awful. Blurry dots. I mean, these people just support something that they don't want to tell the guy the truth. You know, it's not easy to talk shit about somebody and then have them face to face one day. Because that's happened to me several times. And most recently was Third Phase of Moon when I met them. I said a lot of hateful things. It was weird meeting them. You know? It was weird. It was like, I used to hate these guys. Here we are hanging out. It's weird. You never know when you're going to run into these people and they hold grudges. I was going to go somewhere with that and I forgot. Ryan Bledsoe, let me see. He goes here again. All I'm trying to say is you can't go by what any of these guys are saying. Duncan Trussell is not one of us. He's not a ufologist. He's interested in UFOs. He's read books and seen the movies, but he's not like in it. None of these people are. They don't know shit.
Think
this guy
do you have to pay to go do it?
That's a good question. I can't remember that guy's name. It's driving me crazy. But yeah, he wrote a book called UFOs of God. And I started listening to it, and I'm just terrible about reading books and stuff. So I got like the first 3 chapters in, but it was really interesting. NASA showed up at his house.
Here it is. Chris Bledsoe.
Yeah. I watched his, Sean Ryan, I think the guy's name is. I watched his podcast. It was an interesting listen.
And so this guy, what does he think these things are?
They're related with God somehow. They're
this is what Tucker believes.
Yeah, I believe it too.
A lot of people believe that these things are not from another world, that they've always been here.
Yeah.
And they're a part of our world that just don't show themselves to us. Does this guy have videos of these things? Watch this with an open heart, okay? Show me what you got.
Thank you,
Okay,
Samo.
something moving.
What's up, Andrew?
There's a lot.
Okay, what the fuck is that?
Thanks for hanging out tonight.
I think you
guys.
should go out there and check him out. Just don't tell anybody.
That could be bugs.
I see that if I look up in the sky and all.
You hear what they're saying? That could be bugs.
Yeah, but that thing moving across the sky, that is odd.
Oh, that's different. Yeah.
That thing's very odd.
It's
Because that's
not
clearly
odd.
moving.
It's a drone.
I mean,
He goes, you see flashes? Of course you do. Bledsoe said, Christopher Bledsoe, this is from Jordan Crowder. Check this out. Christopher Bledsoe was told by the white lady. You notice he doesn't call her the white lady anymore? It's racist to call her white. I don't know, that's why. He was told by the lady, you're my knight in shining armor, and I want to forget about you. Well, anyway, the lady says that humanity would be given a new knowledge in the coming months. In the coming months! Months! Here's what I believe that knowledge is, he says. Link below to watch the entire new... Oh, he wants us to watch the video. Oh, God. You see the grift? Do you understand? Oh, wait, no. Hold on. This is Jordan Crowder telling us. All right. This is only 2 minutes. Let's take a look. Look. You guys will be happy I showed you. Look, it's Jeremy Corbell 2.0.
Did a whole lot of work on Atlantis, the Atlanteans, and the connection to Egypt. And what he talked about is that underneath the right paw of the Sphinx, there is a doorway that leads down underneath it into a walkway. And in between the right paw and the Nile, halfway between, there is a library. What's in that library? It's the archive of the Atlanteans. So what he says is that the Atlanteans the civilization around 13,000 years ago. There was the Great Deluge, the flood that they talk about in all the ancient texts and religions. But that Great Deluge, that flood, wiped out the Atlanteans. That it was partially caused by them and their misuse of technology, and the surviving Atlanteans, they survived to Egypt. They're the ones that created Egypt. Back then it was called the Land of Kim. And
wait a minute. They're the ones that created Egypt? But I thought, oh, it was before the foot.
They built the Sphinx, they built the pyramid. Stick with me, guys. In that library is the record of the Atlanteans, specifically the origin of souls into human bodies. So where we first started incarnating.
How do you know? Tell me how you found this out. Where did you get your knowledge from? Christopher Bledsoe? Bro.
Genesis of humans on Earth, the technology, all the record of Atlantis civilization, but then also documented the cataclysm, the flood, and how they survived. So this is on stone tablets, on metal plates, and on crystals. And in there is a crystal called the Firestone. The Firestone was this crystal technology that the Atlanteans used. That was this amazing technology that ended up, they misused it and weaponized it and did all sorts of bad things with it and turned in it. That's what led to the fall of Atlantis. So all this information is in this record hall in between.
Wait, what? I thought the flood took the Atlanteans out of existence. And then they built up and got wiped out again. I'm not.
The paw and the Nile. Now you might ask, okay, well, why is it being kept secret? Why can't we just go in there? It's a time capsule that's consciously locked. The way that you unlock it, the key, is conscious, basically equilibrium. Like
the key is conscious and your equilibrium. What? It's your consciousness and your equilibrium. Okay, let me in. Didn't work. This guy, he's a genius. Let's go back a few seconds.
Of Atlantis. So all this information is in this record hall in between the paw and the Nile. Now you might ask, okay, well, why is it being kept secret? Why can't we just go in there? It's a time capsule that's consciously locked. The way that you unlock it, the key, is conscious, basically equilibrium. Like our collective consciousness has to be to the point where we can handle the information, because the reason it's being kept the way it is because it's what led to the downfall of the Atlantis civilization. So if we aren't consciously mature enough, then we can't use that technology. And
that is the absolute dumbest thing I've ever heard, and I've heard it before. I hate that theory, that guessing. Listen.
Right way, and it's being preserved for that reason.
So the only way you could unlock the key is if humanity's consciousness gets to a certain level of maturity. I guess we don't, make fun of each other anymore. Morally, consciousness is, we have to think morally correct? Is that what we're doing? Okay, let's open it up. I guess I'm still morally inept. Is that what? How stupid. Your consciousness. You gotta have the right consciousness. And it's gotta be a majority or minority or some sort of majority of people with this consciousness shift. And then, and only then, can the link to the lock be unopened. That's it. It's amazing, isn't it? How they think of all this. I want to show you this video about Mars, about faces on Mars, structures on Mars, buildings, same thing on Mars, alleyways, bridges. I said that? Water. Are we from Mars? Huh? I said, are we from Mars? Guess what? We've got a poll in the chat room. And the poll here, let's end the poll. Today's poll was, do you believe the Tic Tacs are made by Lockheed Martin? Look at this. Out of 82 votes, we're 50-50 split. That's an amazing and almost 100 votes. Thank you very much as I puke up my insides. Here we go. Let's take a look at this video. Yeah. Something's wrong. Yeah, something's wrong. Cuckoo caca. There it is. Boop.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
You know, like I remember when they were talking about things like the face on Mars, and you're like, what? That sounds so kooky. And then you see pictures, you go, hey man, what is that? Why don't I hear about that in school?
Yeah, well, we had Richard Hoagland on
Yes.
night after night after night after night for weeks on end
Yes.
when that came out. And
Yes.
actually, that face on Mars had a lot to do with my career path, actually.
Well, so what is your take on all this? Because one of the things that happened was with the face on Mars is the initial images were very grainy but fascinating, because it did kind of look like a face, but maybe even more remarkable, because sometimes there's faces like in the side of a rock, it looks like a face. More remarkable was the geometric pattern of the base of it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of dismissed that when the second images came out. So this is the original image. This is the original image that freaked everybody out.
Oh.
They were like, oh my God, there's a face on Mars. And then they came up with these upgraded images, and I was like, well, that's not a face. It's just weird shadows, and it's probably just a mountain. But man, that's an odd shape.
Or that face has been doctored.
It could be true.
Yeah.
But also, then I looked at it and was like, that shape is interesting. Like it almost looks unnatural. Then the new images from very close to Cydonia that show a very clear square. This one's nuts, because this one is somewhere in the neighborhood of between plus 300 meters. Like they don't know how much longer it is than 300 meters, but it's the minimum size of this thing is 300 meters across, and it's a full-on square. Right angle, right. It's like, what the hell is that?
Well, as
Pull that picture up, Jimmy.
As a geologist, I was fascinated when Hoagland first started talking about what was happening here. So,
What's up, Jamie? Oh, that one. Yeah. The one that we bring up all the time.
Well, anyways, which one though?
Oh, it don't matter.
Some of
Just
them are
click
doctored.
on any of them.
Some of them are doctored.
Yeah, the non-doctored one, the one next to it, like they're right there. Look at that. That's absolutely crazy.
So I don't know if I'm very familiar with this image. I don't know if you can see with your mind's eye. You're looking at the lower left.
Look at that, guys. I mean, that right there proves, without a doubt of a shadow, that there are structures on the moon. On Mars and the moon. It is possible that we were around when all this stuff was fresh and kind of new. 1 million years ago. 2 million. And something happened. There was a catastrophic disclosure, probably. Right? They had a catastrophic disclosure. Aliens, are you kidding? That's why we don't want to tell anybody. We know what happened 2 million years ago. Wow, I didn't know. Hey, Andy. Yeah, Barn. Did you hear about Aunt B? All right, let's continue watching this. What the hell's going on over
It's a
here?
90-degree angle. If you can see the rest of the 90-degree angle up at the top and over at the side,
That's
if you
crazy.
can trace out, that is one massive right there. You know,
Look
now
at
you
that.
can see it. Yeah, the computer has cleaned it up. Nature does not work in 90-degree angles. You're not going to get wind, erosion.
Okay, what about that underwater pyramid, that structure, Yamaguchi? You know that one that has all the right angles, and everybody who goes down there says it looks like it was made by man, but nature is nature did not make little tunnelways, airways, walkways, steps. I mean, there's steps, and that's just nature's way of saying, look what I can do. No, I'm sorry.
Wind is called aeolian erosion. Fluvial erosion is water erosion. You're not going to get 90-degree angles from wind or water. So one of the tenets in archaeology, when you see 90-degree angles, there's an intentionality underlying that structure. If it were a one-off, you could say maybe it's a fluke, and it's not. And this is on Mars. Jamie, I don't know if you can do this. Through Freedom of Information, NASA had to release all of...
Doesn't he look like Christopher Walken turning into a werewolf? Sorry. All right. We've seen some structures here. There's not much else to show you on this. Oh, wait, there is. Let's take a look here.
The Viking probes, Viking 1, Viking 2, in the 70s, went to Mars. 19,000 images were captured from the orbiting part of the mission. The other craft landed on the surface, and I can just imagine being on the surface seeing this. It's like this thing's like a spider comes down the cloud of dust, and this little tube pops up, and some sticky dental floss stuff shoots out, and then they reel it in to collect dirt and microbes, and they reel it into broth because they're looking for evidence of life on Mars, and it's happening next to massive monuments and geometric structures that are now dated about 50,000 years BP before present. So they're looking for microbes and signs of life next to the most massive signs of life that you could imagine.
And that's that. The links to these videos that I played this evening that are from YouTube will be in the link section of the show description. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight. Thank you, moderators, super chatters, newcomers, and veterans for making this an enjoyable evening show, live stream. And we'll be back. What's tomorrow? Friday? Maybe Saturday. We'll be back Saturday. Tomorrow night, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to play it by ear for Friday. Friday nights, I think I'm reserving for Rich Saves America at 7 o'clock. So, I don't know. I am probably going to surprise you guys with a members video, something different. But I've got a few things that I was working on that are like halfway done, and I can just finish them in an hour. And they're like, oh, why didn't you put those up? So I got those to do. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hey, be safe out there, because if you want to be a whistleblower, don't. Nobody can protect you. Corbell can't. Eleganzo can't. If the government wants you out, they're going to shut you out. That's it. Plain and simple, simple and plain. Don't fight the fight. Fight what's right. Oh, that was just beautiful. All right. Hey, if you ain't looking up, you ain't looking out. For ufology. Alien bless.
There's a good thing. It's rotating. Well, got it!
Goof on.